Hello and welcome to the Washed DraftKings Weekly Fantasy Picks. I am your host, Mike Embrick. This episode is powered by ChatGPT, and I am going to show you how to use said instrument to make some optimal lineups so you can get the most out of your lineup for this week in DFS, DraftKings and FanDuel Fantasy Weekly picks. You can also use this for your season-long picks. You just have to use your imagination. But what I'm going to do is show you how to use it for a weekly pick. Today is Saturday, September 20th, and these picks will be for tomorrow. The injury report is out, so but we really don't have to worry about that because I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to straighten all that stuff out for you. So the first thing we're going to do is go to our DraftKings. We are going to go to lineups. And I already have my lineups here. You'd have to make a new lineup if you want to get here. This is just my placeholder. So you will export to CSV. Click the button. I already did that. That's why I have 3, 4, and 5. Then you will go back to ChatGPT. And you will upload these lineups to ChatGPT, which I already did. You upload the lineups, for week 3. And you can tell ChatGPT, these are the week 3 lineups. And then what I usually do is I ask it, are there any surprise injuries or weather for week 3 in the 2025 NFL season? Be sure you always have to do that because ChatGPT is AI. It does not know what week it is. It does not know what day it is. It does not have consciousness yet. When it does, I would like to be the first to welcome our AI overlords, and I can be a very good ally of yours. All right, so key injuries is going to tell you, obviously, no brainer there. Jaden Daniels is out. Joe Burrow is out with turf toe, which sounds like a very easy injury, but it's probably one of the worst injuries you can get in football. Brock Purdy is out. Uncertain, it says, but he's highly unlikely. Austin Eckler, which is a shame because he's a really, really good back that you can get for cheap. Justin Fields has a concussion in week 2. Who knows how that's going to play out? Kraft is out. Charbonnet's out. The Vikings have several players ruled out or questionable. J.J. McCarthy, Ryan Kelly, Justin School. So you got that going on. Saints and Seahawks have some injuries. So guys are going through it. Godwin's been questionable since the season started. Haven't heard much from him. If you drafted him on your season long, I feel bad for you. Hopefully you had him as a backup. And that kind of rounds out the injury report. The Colts and Titans is going to have a light wind and possible thunderstorms, Cowboys, Bears. And if we remember last week, they told us to stay away from the Kansas City Eagles game, and we didn't. And we learned the hard way. When you don't listen to ChatGPT, bad things happen to you. So now that we have all that information loaded up in the AI brain, I'm going to say using the information that you have, keeping the salary below $50,000, or you could put right around $50,000. Build me 10 optimal lineups who will score the most points in week 3 out of the NFL season. And it will build you some lineups, takes them in. So there they are. Actually, kind of close to what I probably would have thought up anyway. So the ChatGPT is kind of good. Now you can download this and then upload it back to, if you're going to do like 250 lineups, I'm only going to do like 20 so I can do them by hand. You can download this and upload it when you're done. Don't do that now because I have a few more steps that I want to bring you through. And upload it back to DraftKings. I showed you how to do that in the last video, so you can just go look at our videos, and that is in there. So now I said run 10,000 simulations with this lineup and others to make one killer optimal lineup. And it thinks about that for a while. It did some thinking. It did some political science and statistician-based numbers, stuff you don't need to know unless you're a political science major like me and you're a nerd. But gives you all that kind of stuff, and and they can export it to a CSV. What I usually do is I take these killer lineups, and I'll just do like one of them, and then I'll mix and match. So I actually have one of these already loaded up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear. This is my This is my my holdout lineup. So what I want to do is I want to start making some lineups. So I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to make my first lineup here. And I have, as a quarterback, I'm going to go with Dak Prescott because that is going to be one of the high over-under games of the week. So I'm picking Dak. I'm going to throw Bijan in there. Bijan scoring 25 points a game, so not too bad. I mean, he had a slow start, but he's being Bijan, obviously. And then I'm going to pay down a little bit for my running back, as I said. And I'm going to go with Jordan Mason. There's a little note there. It's probably denoting that the Vikings are having some injuries, and he's probably going to be the starting running back. Probably get a lot of touches today. I'm going to stack with Dak, George Pickens, and going to bring it back with Odunze from Chicago. This is going to be my Chicago stack game, obviously, my Chicago Dallas Cowboys stack game. And then going to pay down a little bit for wide receiver, and I'm going to grab Michael Pittman. And for my tight end, I think you're not going to be able to get away with paying up for tight end with a lineup like this, so you're going to have to go a little lower. I'm going to go with Zach Ertz. He's back, and, he gets a lot of targets. And then for my flex, I am going with CeeDee Lamb. And for my defense, I'm going to pick the Tennessee Titans. So this is my one of my lineups that I'm going to do this week. So I think this is going to be a real high over-under game. You got Prescott, Bijan, Jordan Mason, George Pickens, Odunze, Michael Pittman, and Zach Ertz, and CeeDee Lamb, and the Titans defense at home. So I'm going to assign that lineup. Obviously, I don't want it to be all of them. I just want one of them. All entries on it. I just want it to be one. Okay, assign lineup. Okay. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to close that out. Okay, so now back to my placeholder lineup. I'm going to clear that out. I got another lineup that I wanted to do a little bit of experimenting with, and that is for my quarterback. I'm going to go with Williams. I think that Caleb Williams has a good game this week. I think this is the highest scoring game on the main slate, so just going to take a chance with switching out Dak for Caleb because I think that Dak's a little expensive and maybe be able to work in some different players here. I think I'm just going to stick with Mason because it's just a really, 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 really good week for him. He's in a real good spot. He's going to be the only running back getting touches, and that game, they're going to score some points, and we know that Mason can, do a little bit of work. Then I'm going to throw in Jonathan Taylor just to kind of mix and max my backs here. Wide receiver, I'm going to go with DJ Moore at 5,400. So let me go find him. DJ Moore from Chicago. Is going to stack him with Williams. And then, of course, got to go with CeeDee Lamb. Super expensive, but I think CeeDee's going to have a lot of touches today. Then I'm going to go down and Quentin Johnson, even though this game is not slated to have a high over-under, I don't believe, but I think that Quentin Johnson's going to get some touches. I mean, there's just not a lot going on that offense in San Diego, so he's going to get some touches. You know that. And for tight end, which always jams me up, as I said, I'm paying down for tight end this week.
You can pay up if you want. I actually hit on my tight end last week once in a generation. Dallas Goedert's coming back, so I feel like they're going to try to get him involved. I didn't like what the Philadelphia offense did last week. I think he was missed, and you could tell he was missed last week. Just a lot of those plays that usually open up for them didn't open up with the backup tight ends in the game. So flex player. I think you could either go with like a George Pickens or like someone like that. I mean, obviously, I try to get a wide receiver in my flex because they just get so much volume. But, you're looking at like 59, 6,000 if you want to get a decent defense because you're going to have to pay a little bit up for defense this week. It's just the way the week is shaking out. There's just not a lot of defensive talent. So if you're going to pay about 5,900 to 6,000, I don't hate doing double tight, and I think that's what I'm probably going to do here. I'm going to do Bowers and Goddard because I think they're going to get more targets than whoever is in this $6,000 wide receiver range, and I consider Bauer and Leonte does as well a wide receiver. We really don't consider him a tight end. He's kind of like he could just line up on the line and take any DB or safety or linebacker in the league on one-on-one. He's proven that. So for defense, I'm going to go with the Eagles defense. I'm going to leave about 200 on the table, but I really, really like this lineup, so we're going to go with it. I'm going to assign it if it'll let me. I guess it did. Okay. So, Daniel Jones is not $7,000. Daniel Jones is $5,400. He's up from his $5,000 debut that he had. Actually, I think I'm going to take a chance on Geno. I'm going to go with Bijan as one of my running backs, and I'm going to pay down a little bit and grab Nick Chubb. Maybe he gets in the end zone once. So for my wide receivers, I'm going to stick with the Cowboys because the high over-under, as I said, CeeDee Lamb. And I'm going to try to squeeze in another one of these guys that's a little bit more pricey. I'll throw in Smith Njigba. And I'm going to go right to my tight end, and I'm going to pay up for Bowers to stack him with Geno. I have one more wide receiver to get in here, and I'm probably going to stay relatively cheap here and go down and mess around with these guys here. Stephon Diggs has been a little underwhelming this season, but he's gotta get a touchdown, and I think this might be the week. I think this Pittsburgh-New England game might get run up a little bit, so going to take a chance on him, although I will be mixing and matching all of these lineups, and you can use ChatGPT to your imagination. You could run 20,000 simulations, 100,000 simulations. You can call that optimal lineup down to the bottom. I mean, really, your imagination is the limit there. So I'm going to go to defenses. I'm going to just try to get the cheapest defense here. Cleveland against Green Bay. I don't have any Packers on my team, so that's a safe bet for me. If they could get me 5 to 10 points, I will be in heaven with this lineup here. And I have about 4,200 left. And out of these guys down below, I think you could kind of take a shot. But out of these guys, I feel like Zach Ertz will get the most targets, so I'm going to go double tight again. I just switched Browers and Ertz, and I'm going to sign that lineup. And there you have it. So there are my lineups for week 3. I hope you all... Let me start that again. Okay, there are my lineups for week 3. Now, what you can do is go back to ChatGPT if you'd like, and just look at these optimal lineups here, and they will tell you everything you need to know. This was the big optimal of this week. It was the one I did the killer optimal. And usually I'll just mix and match this, and these are not my lineups. I just showed you my lineups, but I feel like the football brain with the ChatGPT brain is the best way to go. And this is the ChatGPT optimal lineup for 50 grand. It's Daniel Jones, Bijan Robinson, so kind of like close to what we had. They have Javonte Williams in there, Puka, Ondunze, which we had, Smith-Njigba, which we had, Juwan Johnson. He's been getting a lot of touches. I forgot about him, but I definitely will have him in some of my lineups. The Rams defense and Keenan Allen, although I don't necessarily agree with Keenan Allen, but they're saying his mean is 18.5, so we'll see. And then that might be what's on DraftKings, so we'll see. But as I said, those are the lineups. That's how you do it with ChatGPT. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Good luck this week, and if you win, you can mail me some money. I'll give you my address. Just inbox me. If I win, you probably won't see me on here next week because I'll be in Cabo or something, but good luck to everybody. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week, guys. Take care.